Go on there, shit to get a bit friendly, mate.
Let's smell. So we're sat here on a very brisk autumn morning in Winchester, blue skies. Who are you?
I'm Matthew Downie, born in Paisley, raised in the south.
Where's Paisley?
Paisley, Scotland.
Scotland?
Scotland. It is.
Nice place, that.
It is. It's a lovely place. It's a lovely place. I'd recommend going. The riding there, beautiful. Storms, not so beautiful.
What did we do a few weeks ago?
We decided it was a good idea to go get a world records.
Well, you bought one here in the last 5 years.
How are you feeling, Matt?
Ready, mate. I'm feeling as ready as ever. Nerves kicked in a little bit all the time.
What are you nervous about?
Achieving it, really, I think. Make sure I don't let anybody down. I'll say there's a lot of prep that goes into it, so everyone's doing their part. Yeah, just a bit nervous. I was a bit nervous. It's all sort of like setting, realising it's tomorrow. Now that we're in Inverness, it's all setting in. But no, I feel fine now. Get good night's sleep, a bit tired, but yeah, we'll see. Feel a bit of the bike. I just got to do the bars for sure. Speaker bars. Really comfortable. I used Watch Shop before, and they were comfortable, but not as comfortable as those. The position, I get a really nice position in it. Should do me well.
How do you feel about the rain?
Storm Agnes.
Ah, that's fine. That's not a problem at all. It's fine. As long as it's not too cold, then it'll be fine. Got rain cape ready and stuff like that. So, but no, I think it'll be fine as long as it's like I said, as long as it's not cold.
Everyone knows what NC500 is, thanks to GCN and Mark Beaumont, ex record holder of the route. But I don't think a lot of people are going to know who you are.
No,
Matthew Downie.
I don't know who I am.
Who
either.
are you, Matthew Downie?
I'm a road racer in the UK. Gone over to Belgium sort of like this year. Just quit my job. Went over to Belgium, raced over to Belgium for a few weeks. But yeah, I've been predominantly road racing. That's about it, really. Some circuit racing, crits, but mostly road racing. Time trialling, a little bit of time trialling, but nothing more than 28 miles.
Okay, you're underplaying your career a little bit there. You did race for a continental team for a little bit.
Yes, I did, yeah.
You know, was it 2018?
2018, yeah. I joined Holdsworth Pro Cycling in 2018, sort of about May 2018. Then we went over to China, did tour of Qinghai Lake, sort of in July, which was 2-week-long stage race, altitude as well. So yeah, that was probably the biggest race I've done.
You've won some decent races over the years.
Oh yeah, no,
Beck,
of course.
Beck Road Race.
Beck Road Race.
Seven Bridge.
No, never won Seven Bridge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so
not as good as I thought.
Came second at Seven Bridge.
Okay.
I did. I was third at junior regional champs, and then I also won regional champs for seniors in 2017, I think.
On the famous Oswaldbury circuit.
Yes. I hate that circuit so much.
Lovely circuit.
Fun. Last year I also won the Scottish National Time Trial Championships.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Don't forget that, mate.
Yeah, I've got that.
NC500 has been on my radar for pretty much since I started cycling competitively for about 4 or 5 years ago, after Mark Beaumont took it for the first time in I think 2015, 2016. I was like, that looks like a bit of fun. But it never really aligned for me to do it. I was never really strong enough. Every time I thought about doing it, the record seemed to get faster and faster. It got knocked down by Robbie Mitchell. Somebody else took it at some point, and then obviously the big one from Mark this time last year with the GCN video kind of put it out of reach for a mere mortal like me. But I thought, I was bored, one winter afternoon last year, and I was like, if I can't do it, I should at least kind of organise an attempt.
Drag someone else into
it. And I thought, I sat there thinking, I wonder who would be good at it. And then 5 seconds later, of course, Matthew Downie, somebody that loves to suffer. I knew he was strong over the rolling terrain that you'd find in the Highlands. I knew you could deal with the shit weather. You weren't going to give up if it got hard. You would just push through it.
Just love it, mate.
For better or worse, until you killed yourself.
Yep.
Or until your leg fell off.
Yep.
So I sent you a message. Do you want to go for the interview?
Should have never replied to that message.
And it took about 30 seconds of convincing you.
Yep.
And you said yes. And that was pretty much it.
That is 2 scoops. Mate, you just got to be slipping and stuff on that.
Anybody want some?
Oh! Here's Matt Downie, 1% down, 99 to go. Currently 60 miles in. Matt is averaging about 23.5 miles an hour. Looking really good. He's feeling happy. Yeah, everyone in the car is happy. So, how are you feeling?
Yeah, good.
Harry?
Confident.
Perfect. So it's Maddie going up the Blackna Bar. He is 75 miles in. He's looking good. We've done a bike change. He's now on the road bike, feeling better. We've had a change of helmet, which is good. And he's about 1 kilometer from the top. Some beautiful scenery here, which I doubt he's taking in.
The extent of our kind of pre-planning with Mark, well, our in the car pre-planning, obviously you watched over his video 100 times, but I'd checked his Strava and I'd written up the time it took to get to each 50-mile marker. And yeah, if we checked it and you were like 2 hours ahead, then something had gone wrong and you were going way too quickly in the middle at the end. But, you know, ideally you'd be like 5-10 minutes ahead. That's what we were hoping for. But yeah, this first kind of 4 or 5 hours to the main climb, it all went really, really smoothly. There was a bit of a tailwind.
Going up to...
Weather was really clear. And first 50 miles clicked by and he was like 25 minutes ahead. Yeah, it was crazy. I mean, you were like rock solid on the bike. You were going, every time it was flat, it was 32, 33 miles an hour.
Yeah.
You were just flying along on your TT bike.
But I was looking down the power and I was holding about 240, I think, 230, 240.
What did you want to hold?
That's exactly what I wanted to hold. And I was just like, I was just glad that I had that tailwind.
Blackna Bar was crazy steep. The car wasn't too happy going so slowly up it. So we kind of stopped just before all the switchbacks and we were just watching you kind of go up it. And then something I was stressing about was that we needed to get you the clothing, like long sleeves, a gilet, before you were on the descent, because the descent took like what, half an hour, 20 minutes?
About 15-20 minutes.
Yeah, 15-20 minutes, which is a long time if you're sweaty and it's in 10 degrees.
Especially going up towards the top, because I mistakenly left a 55-40 on the front, 11:28 on the back.
Mistakenly.
You
don't accidentally leave your gear on your bike.
So I was like, oh, it'll be fine. And so I was grinding up sort of towards the top of the Blackna Bar, 20%, 25% maybe, 40-28. So yeah, I was definitely a bit hot and sweaty by the time I got to the top of it.
And then just as you got to the top, you stopped to put your gilet on, which was a good decision.
It was a little bit windy at the top, so.
And then I think we were behind you for about 10 seconds, and you absolutely flew down that descent. It was insane.
That's where I
you
nearly
were
crashed
gone
like twice.
from you, but we were watching you go down, and you disappeared for like 20 seconds, and then suddenly you were about 2 miles ahead of us, and I was dragging it down this descent, going like quick, and Ben was going like, "Go on, like speed up, Harry." We were going to catch him up, and it was this super narrow like country lane, like barely a car's width. And the road, as soon as it flattened off, was like super bumpy. So we were like flying over these bumps on the descent. It took us about like 10, 20 minutes. Like we got, well after we got to the bottom of the descent, we were going through these country lanes, getting held up by campers and stuff. I know, we were like, where is he? We can't see him. I was kind of like looking out in the verge. I was like, maybe we're going to see his legs popping up on the side of the verge with his bike on the other side of the road. Yeah, we come around this corner, and there's this river going out to the sea, kind of open bit of land, and we can see you on the other side going up the climb, like 2 kilometres ahead of us.
One of the first corners has a load of gravel on it, and the van was coming the other way, and so I had to go a bit wide, and I nearly stacked it on there because there was so much gravel underneath me. Obviously, just sort of like put my head down, went down, and then got stuck behind like a transporter, which let me pass. But when I passed him, there was like a crosswind, so when I passed him, my front wheel caught the wind and I went off the road, and so I was going off the road, sort of bouncing around. But apart from that, everything else went smoothly.
And then when we caught you up, and we obviously handed you a bottle and a bit of food because it had been a while since we got anything to you.
Yeah.
Like we don't really know what your mindset is or kind of what your emotions are whilst we're in the car behind. We just have to assume that you're doing okay. Then we came up alongside you and like, I almost died. We're like, okay, he's enjoying himself a little bit there.
132 miles in. Matt's just had a really strong headwind for the last 25 kilometers. It started to rain a little bit, nothing heavy, still doing well. He's now back on the TT bike. We swapped, 15 k's ago? Yeah, Matt's a little bit tired after the headwind, but cracking on now with a very helpful tailwind.
He seems to kind of plateaued a little bit in a good way, not in a bad way. Plateaued faster than Mark.
We're looking at about an hour up on the time?
I don't think that much, still between 45 and an hour up. Right. Which is still obviously a lot of time to take the record by, but that's time that can easily be lost in a few hours overnight. Definitely. So still, yeah.
Still got a long night to go.
Not quite squeaky bum time, but that'll come later.
Good, alright. Feels like I've ridden 7 hours.
Yep. You almost have. Almost 150 miles in. You looking good? You're flying. You're up hugely on the time, which is good to see. Still.
Yeah, I'll go for a wee. Get the bladder ready as well.
Good.
I'll put the bladder back in. Turn your feet in. Yeah, baby. 4,000 minutes of climbing. Up on Everest.
How do the legs feel after 4,000 meters of climbing?
It's like 4,000 meters of climbing.
Matt's got some company. What you have to say about the weather, Matt?
What weather? I'm waiting for a storm phone. Waiting for it, you know?
Down there, there's a very wet and cold Matt Downie. 219 miles in, almost 11 hours in. Matt's still high spirited. We stopped to give him a jolt and he was singing to himself. I don't know if that's a good or a bad sign. How are the legs feeling?
Pretty fucked, ain't gonna lie to you. But they've been fucked for the past fucking 100 miles.
Good. Fuck legs, they're going pretty fast.
Huh?
Well, fuck legs, they're going pretty fast.
It was completely dead in the night, like between probably 11 o'clock to 5 a.m. I don't think we saw a single other car.
I think we saw 2 cars.
Two cars.
But that was it.
Like, that was a really cool experience of like, we just knew there wasn't anything else. It just felt like it was just us 4 in Scotland, in the Highlands. We had the whole place to ourselves. Yeah, I was railing around these corners in the car, and we came around this one corner in this forested bit, and you came around it like 30-40 metres ahead of us, and then we came around it, and the lights lit up this group of like 10 sheep just sat in the road, completely taking over the whole road. And I just see you lock up both wheels, kind of skid sideways a little bit, and then realise you aren't going to make it, and then release your brakes.
Yeah, luckily I found sort of like a gap between 2 sheep, sort of like the back end of a sheep and sort of like the head of a sheep, and then I was like, I'm going to have to commit to this. And I think luckily the full beams were on in the car because the sheep were just staring at the car, and then I managed to find a gap, and unfortunately I did shin a sheep on my left shin.
I mean, it was very friendly. They didn't look hurt or anything.
No.
It wasn't very quick, but it was like you weren't going to stop in time. Both like these 2 sheep with their bums facing each other, with there's like maybe like a 5-inch gap in between them, they just bumped up both your legs. But it felt like in the car, it felt like time kind of stood still for a little bit. We were like, oh shit, he's going to go down. Like, there's no way you can't just vanish.
Yeah, if the sheep like moved, they would have just taken my front wheel out and I would have just gone down.
Yeah,
and that would have been,
And then by the time the car got there, they did all scatter.
Yeah.
And we were just in shock. We were like, what on earth just happened? We were like, what were we at that point? We were like 15 hours deep into driving and cycling.
Yeah.
And Matt's just needs 2 sheep out of the way on a descent. I didn't feel real. I was like, what the fuck is going on?
It was a close call.
Well, we've just had a late night bike change. Very, very bad crosswinds. Matt on the disc and the very deep front TT wheel. He's changed over onto the road bike. Quite a chaotic change, but we got it done. Matty is just about to clock over 300 miles.
Midnight is exactly midnight right now.
It's midnight and he's still ticking over. He is less vibrant and spunky. However, the watts have not died at all. He's still eating, still drinking. The weather has remained pretty shit. But yeah, he's just ticking over and happy.
Yeah, the climbs, after changing over to the road bike, obviously I had a bit more of a sort of a harder gear on the road bike, weirdly enough, than the TT bike.
You say that like, for some reason there was a harder gear on the road. Like somebody put a gear on my bike. Where did this come from?
I thought it was going to be all right. Like, that's something I'd change for like future events. Is probably think about my gearing a bit better on the road bike.
Yeah. So I mean, going into it, I planned it with the help of Sophie, kind of planning the logistics, packing the car and sorting out where we're going to be and when, and booking stuff and sorting out how to make it official. But I left all of the riding, all of the bike stuff, all of the pacing and stuff like that to Matt, because I knew he wasn't going to listen to me on stuff like that anyway. I kind of rock up to the car when they're picking me up, and you've got, what was it on the road bike? You had a
5540.
A 5540 for an ultra record on the NC500.
And an 1128 on the back.
What? Why? I wouldn't even do that. I wouldn't even ride that on a flat race, let alone a...
Well, that's what I was racing over in Belgium. So I just thought,
stupid.
How hard could it be?
Stupid. And then in the middle of the night, we get to this group. I mean, it was maybe like 10 super steep climbs.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I remember just sort of like out the saddle, like trying to dance up the climbs, and there was one where I saw like a 25%. I looked because whenever I was on a climb, I switched over to like the climbing part of my Wahoo, my climbing page, just sort of like see what was coming up and everything like that. And it was just I could just see it was just getting. It was like a dark red, which is like 25% plus, I think, 30%. And at one point, I just unclipped. And
also, you were having a block headwind during this as well. So
yes.
It wasn't like it was just... And it was raining. And yeah, you got halfway up. And like you were going up them, everyone you were going slower and slower. And it's like you can only go up, climb so slowly. And yeah, you got halfway. Yeah. And you just unclipped.
I could see it just sort of like snaked up. And I just thought... And so I unclipped and I just stopped. And Harry stopped in the car. And I was like... what am I supposed to do here? Like, how am
I
supposed to go?
saw him stop, and I've been in that situation before. Not on a record so quickly as this, but you know, during some ultra stuff that you get. Sometimes it's just quicker to walk. Like you're going so slowly up some of these climbs.
That didn't happen though. That didn't happen.
So
you
stood there. You didn't move. So I pulled up alongside you, and I told Ben. I was like, Ben, just tell him to walk. Like, as long as you're moving forward. That's kind of the whole. This is kind of the whole mantra of ultra cycling.
Yeah.
For, you know, super ultra cycling is that as long as you're moving, then that is okay.
Yeah.
But it's when you stop that you start bleeding time. So I was like, Matt, if you can't ride it, just walk up it.
Yeah.
Like the top's only going to be 50 meters up the road. But you just took 10 seconds and you got back on your bike and ground out to the top somehow.
That was one of the only sort of times where I sort of was grinding up the climbs just because of the gearing. Like I think again for next time I'd go with an easier gearing, but that's the one that's the gearing I chose. So there was actually one point during the night where I was descending. And I was getting like literally blown around like a rag doll. And at that point I thought, this is just dangerous. This is just far too dangerous. And then when we hit Downie as well, I was sort of anticipating, because I was like going like 180 degrees. And I was like, oh, I'll have a tailwind here. I did 180 degrees and it turned into like another like cross headwind. I was like, what's going on?
There's so many like hills and valleys and everywhere that the wind is not. Like there's no kind of direct wind, and especially in a storm as well. Like it's all over the. We're at the top of Scotland on the way to John O'Groats. About 120k John O'Groats.
Yeah.
And then it's straight lined all the way to Inverness.
What to say, what to do. Fine. Nearly there. Only 1,000 kilometres to fucking go. Good news. I've got less than 2,000 metres of climbing to go. Nearly done Everest.
You're doing a great job.
Thanks. I'm as fucked as I was fucking 300k ago.
Yeah, that's not going to change. So
I know.
So we got to John O'Groats. The sun started to come up, but for the previous few hours to that, the fueling had started to become a bit of a problem.
I think it was just a case of earlier on we tried using like tortilla wraps filled with like Nutella and peanut butter, and they sort of just sat my stomach a little bit.
It's quite. I mean, there's no way around it really. Like no human should be natural at taking on that amount of food over like what were at that point 20 hours.
The longest I'd ridden before that was 7-8 hours, I think, in one ride. So it was a lot.
Yeah, that's something
a
that's
lot bigger,
completely different.
Yeah.
But we were trying to get, and as soon as it got to the point where we were trying to give you food and you were saying no, we were like, okay, we're not going to force it down him, otherwise he's going to hate us.
Yeah, I hated the sound of the car coming up like next to me. I was like, oh, no.
I mean, we'd give you I'd just get Ben to break off like a quarter of a bar and be like, just eat it, and then if you were like, no, I'm not going to eat anything, we'd drop back and I'd be like, okay, we'll give you 10 minutes, and then you need to take something.
I mean, to be
fair,
fair,
it went like there was a few hours at points where you didn't eat anything.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, those Sturka bars definitely went down a lot easier than a lot of other things. I think because I'd been eating those previously, my stomach was used to it, and sort of Ben breaking them into quarters. Because they were actually quite dense as well. They actually filled me up quite nicely. So
it was good. You can take each bar is 50 grams of carbs. You take a quarter of that. And it's
no, exactly. And I could just sort of just chew it quite nicely. It wasn't, but it felt like I was eating something because it is quite a dense bar.
Yeah, I mean, you're still getting down in one bite of food, you get down 12.5 grams of carbs in a quarter. That's fine. You can still kind of tick over on that. And then eventually, it didn't go too long. I think it was like a couple of hours, and then you took a can of Coke, and then you're taking gels, and I was like, okay, as long as he's taking something. And then as soon as we got into the last, I just wanted to get to like 7 hours to go. And then I was like, I know Matt can just suffer through that without any food. Just because like, you're crazy.
I think it's just it went from complex to then just simple carbohydrates towards the end. You know, because towards the end I was just drinking just Fanta.
Yeah, morning guys. Maddie over here still tapping it out. Matt's really struggling at the moment. His stomach is very unsettled, struggling to eat. He's currently about 40 minutes ahead of Beaumont's time, but he's battling a very heavy crosswind, very heavy headwind. So yeah, he needs all the encouragement he can get. Yeah, keep in your thoughts and prayers, guys. In the last 50 miles, you've gained time on Mark. You're going to be 1 hour and 10 minutes up by the 450 mile mark. Doing exceptional. Keep it up, boy.
With each 50-mile marker, those first 3 we'd gone up to 1 hour 20 ahead, and then every single 50-mile marker after that. So through the night, through this brutal headwind, stopping at the side of the road quite a few times, stopping on the climb. Every single time it stayed between 1 hour 10 and 1 hour 20. Like there was never a point where you were going slower than Mark's record.
Yeah.
Which just like blew our minds. Every time it ticked over 50 miles, we were like, what? It's like, surely this can't be real. Surely he's just lost half an hour.
Yeah.
And then we get onto this home stretch and you're still sat like 1 hour 5, 1 hour 10 minutes ahead. But it's a block headwind all the way home.
Matt's still cracking on. He's got just under 100 k's to go now. Yeah, it's going to be a slow, steady march to the finish, but he's still up on time, and he's still, the pedals are still turning, so all is still good.
When we hit John O'Groats and we started riding, this is obviously about 40k after I went onto the TT bike, my right knee started playing up. I felt a slight twinge on the outside of my knee, which got progressively worse in the last 200 kilometres, going into that headwind, and obviously I didn't know what was going on with it, so I was trying to stretch it out, which apparently is the worst thing to do. But I quickly realised when I started stretching it out, it just hurt even more when I started pedalling. So I knew I just had to just keep pedaling my bike basically.
Let's climb with 90k to go. What happened, Matt? What did you do?
Well, I looked up, the wind's blowing through the trees really aggressively, and I knew I had a headwind, and it was a continuous headwind. So going up this one of the last climbs, and I had a bit of a hissy fit with my knee and everything like that. So I threw my bike into a verge, threw my helmet on the floor. Yeah, threw a hissy fit. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do it. My knee's in so much pain.
You stopped aside the road. You lobbed your bike down.
Threw a hissy fit. Threw my helmet on the floor. Sophie jumped out, and she was like, what's happening? I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. I can't do this anymore. My knee is in so much pain. She said, should we get the road bike out? And I was like, yes, yeah, get the road bike out. But I'm not doing this anymore. And I opened the boot to get the road helmet as Sophie was getting the road bike down, and you gingerly said, do you want anything? And I was like, yeah, let's get in this fucking car because I'm done with this. I can't do this. And you were like, okay.
I was absolutely bricking it. I thought he was going to kill me. I genuinely thought he was going to throttle me.
I was going to. Before this, obviously, Harry said, don't underestimate this. And I was like, no, I want to suffer through this. Because if I don't, then I haven't gone hard enough. I haven't. So that definitely unlocked another level of suffering for me.
Like we could see how much pain you're in.
Oh, but then I think luckily that if we didn't change and we tried changing at a later point, I wouldn't have been able to do it. But luckily because of the 55-2 chambering, I was able to grind that. So I was able to keep pedaling and pedaling and pedaling.
The next hour at 30 k's an hour, you'll break his record by a whole hour.
I think I found Jesus.
Sorry? I told you! Go ready! 25 k's to go. About to be a world record holder. How do you feel?
How do you feel? Fucked. I'm never doing this ever again.
Matt is about 10 kilometers, 15 kilometers out. He's definitely on course to smash the record by an hour, more or less, we don't know. We'll see when we get to the end. But yeah, super proud of him. He's done exceptionally well. He's pushed his body and his mind to the absolute limits, and he's still managing to greet and thank the cars that come past him and that are patient for him. So yeah, absolute gentleman. Inverness, baby. We've made it unscathed.
No, it doesn't feel real.
Yeah. Do you think this is going to be something that people are going to be talking about for ages?
Yeah, they'll be talking about that guy.
That guy, Big Matty D. Matt Downie, less than a kilometer left on the NC500. Looking at doing a time of 27.5 hours. What an incredible accomplishment.
Fucked. There's no other words to describe, mate. Fucked. I'm absolutely shagged, diggity shagged. I would never in my life do that ever again. Fucking that headwind. Jesus Christ, I've never suffered in that headwind so long.
And you found Jesus Christ in that headwind,
I
eh?
found Jesus. Jesus. Fuck. No, it's just headwind, that's all I remember.
You had, I think it was about 80% of the time.
Yep. I fucking know it was.
Yeah, and I knew it was beforehand as well.
You motherfucker.
Can't believe I did it.
Yeah.
Couldn't believe it. It was absolutely treacherous. The whole thing. Like, you know, I gained a lot of respect for both Robbie and Mark throughout it. And yeah, it was. I couldn't believe I did it, if I'm honest, and couldn't believe it was over as well. But all I wanted to do was sleep, but I couldn't because I had so much caffeine in me. So.
That final drive into Inverness, that felt pretty special. Like that was it. I didn't let myself. I mean, I can't speak for Sophie or Ben, but I didn't let myself think about actually doing it, like actually succeeding until we got into Inverness. Because even like 20 k's to go, your knee could have blown up, and you couldn't have pedalled, and that would have been it.
Yeah.
What a week! I don't think any of us are going to forget it ever. Thank you to our sponsors and supporters.
Full Bean Cycling.
Produced by Full Beans.
Full Bean.
Supported and distributed by Monument Cycling. Supported by TAAP Racing.
Aid, Ryan. Yep, both of them. They're massive helps.
And Spico handlebars.
Spico, custom aero handlebars.
Thanks to Sturka. Used a bit of their food. We used okay, more than a bit.
I had a lot of bars.
The carb mix was perfect. Even when he couldn't really eat properly, you could still go down and drink. I was convinced whilst we were in during the NC500 that I'd put Matt off for life, that he was never going to ride a bike again after that. Like, he was so miserable. But you know, it took 2 days for him to be like, yeah, let's go for it again. So yeah, we're going to do some other ultra stuff. Have a bit of fun.
Yeah, this is just a start, just the beginning.